is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are the West.
His season has been challenging, but he's getting stronger down the stretch. He's been money at Globe Life Park and very tough on the Angels. He's fighting for a place in a playoff rotation. Martin Perez hopes to take the Rangers one step closer to clinching the West when the Rangers meet the Angels next. It is a beautiful night. Globe Life Park, Angels and Rangers in the opening game of this three-game series as we'll wrap up a homestand of the Rangers making that charge toward an American League West championship. As we take a look at the standings coming into today, Rangers enjoying that 8.5 game lead over the Mariners. Astros not far behind, and the magic number remains at 5, hoping to cut into that tonight. Hello again, folks. Welcome in. I'm Dave Raymond with Steve Busby. And tonight, of course, the game of utmost importance. That's primary. But also an opportunity tonight to get a glimpse of some of the game's all-time greats when it's all going to be said and done. And that's part of the fun of this time of year as well, Buzz.
Yeah, a lot of good players, great players in this series, but two of the best of all time, Adrian Beltre and Albert Pujols, matched up tonight. Adrian Beltre, look at that, 2,929 hits. He is leading the active players, second active, I should say. 38th all-time for Adrian Beltre on that hit list. Meanwhile, in the other dugout, how about the 9th best home run hitter of all time? That would be Albert Pujols. So they have meant so much to their teams over this year and over the past decade and a half. Both ball players on exhibition tonight, and they are something special.
Not an exaggeration. Generational talents at their positions like Lou Gehrig and Brooks Robinson, and you get it tonight. Game 1 of our three-game series. Stay with us. Just about set to go for the opener. Beautiful night tonight. We've got the lineups coming up when we return. Sports Southwest, brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT high-speed internet, get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. All right, just about ready to go tonight. Rangers and Angels open a game of this 3-game series. Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Dave, the Rangers have worked for 5.5 months to put themselves in the position they are in right now. 8.5 games up in the American League West, a magic number of 5 with 12 games to play. And Jeff Bannister says no sense in changing anything now.
There's anxieties on the outside because everybody's looking for, because look at it, they call it a magic number for a reason. So everybody counts it down, and the reality is that for us on the inside, it is truly just one day, one game at a time, and until we get there. It'll be business as usual.
And Dave, Buzz would be able to speak to this a lot better than you or I would, but it seems like those first 2 weeks of the season and the last 2 weeks of the season are amplified perhaps more than any other period in the season because there is such a small sample size in the beginning, and then of course a small sample size as these regular season games start to dwindle down. I'd be interested to get Buzz's take on that. Maybe it's just the fan perspective. Who knows?
Now, I'm with you on that one, Emily, and we'll dig into that a little bit with Buzz tonight as we get ready for our first pitch. And first, let's check out the starting lineup for the Angels, managed by Mike Scioscia in his 17th season at the helm. And he'll start it off with Yunel Escobar, their third baseman. Mike Trout in center field bats second. Albert Pujols, the DH, batting third. And cleanup tonight, first baseman C.J. Cron. Jeffrey Marte at left field bats fifth. Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop, whom we highlighted in the open, he is batting sixth. Gregorio Petit, Carlos Perez, the catcher, and then Shane Robinson with a start in right for the Angels, rounding things out for Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's Mike Scioscia's order, and he is going to. 9 are going to face Martin Perez tonight. Martin has been very good in this ballpark. The 25-year-old. Making his 31st start, which is the most on the ball club. It's also a continuing career high for Martin Perez. 10-10 with a 4.20 ERA and a 2.68 opponent's batting average. Martin Perez in this ballpark has been at times unbeatable, and certainly lately there would be no difference in that as he has won his last couple of ball games. He is 8-2 this year at Globe Life Park, and his ERA of 2.65 is the second best in the American League. And there's the breakdown of what Martin Perez features. Fastballs, sliders, curveballs, changeups. You see the changeups almost 17% of the time, with fastballs accounting for 62%. You're going to see that changeup heavily featured tonight if he's able to throw it for a called strike. And against this Angel club, that's a big if, because you have to be able to show them early in the game, Dave, that you're going to throw it for a strike before they will offer at it when it's out of the strike zone.
Well, we'll see, too, how our plate umpire, Kerwin Danley, operates tonight, what kind of strike zone he's got. Yunel Escobar, another very good offensive campaign for him. Last year, a very big year with the Washington Nationals, and he's followed it up nicely again this year. Now with the Angels, and first pitch swinging, diving stop by Elvis Andrus, one away.
How about that for a start?
Well, Martin Perez gets a lot of ground balls, Buzz.
Yeah, he sure does. That was a ground ball that stayed in the air for quite a while before it hit the ground. But, boy, what a play by Elvis Andrus. We talked about he and Andrelton Simmons in the pregame also. And right from the beginning, Elvis Andrus flashing that leather. And Elvis having his best all-around year from my perspective. That is just a fantastic play to open up this ball game.
That's a way to get everybody settled in. So one out, and now Mike Trout. Now they go exclusively right-handed tonight. The Angels throw 9 right-handed hitters out there against Martin Perez. Trout sends this one way down the line foul, and it is 1-1. Dangerous hitter. For many people's money, the best player in the game, and in fact, year after year, he
is lauded with those types of compliments. Third in the league with a .318 average.
Well, a true 5-tool player, if there ever was one. Mike Trout is fantastic. If you want to look for a weakness, he doesn't throw that well. But he doesn't need to. You know, he gets to so many balls in the outfield and so quickly that his lack of arm strength never shows up. But he can do everything else on a baseball field with the best of them.
Bouncer to the left side. Beltre there this time. 2 gone.
Well, a good pitch that time by Martin Perez. Got the pitch in on Trout. Made him swing the bat early in the count. And that's a key to facing good hitters like Trout and Pujols.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, delivered to you by Break Check. Beltre and Andrews on the left side of the infield getting work early. Right side of the infield is Odor and Moreland. The outfield goes Carlos Gomez at left, Ian Desmond center, Nomar Mazara and right. And in the squat tonight, Jonathan Lucroy catching Martin Perez. So now Albert Pujols, another foul down the right field line.
Yeah, and with the fastball. Martin Perez showing both Trout and Pujols, hey, here's what I brought with me. I think I've got a pretty good fastball tonight. You're going to see it. See a heavy dose of it early.
See the numbers for Pujols. And impressive once again, as they oftentimes are. Perez doesn't get the call on that slightly low offering to Pujols. Those are the pitches that can make a huge difference for Martin over the course of the night. This one lined to center, and it's a base hit for Albert Pujols. Well, when we talk about Pujols these next couple of nights, and we talk about Mike Trout, one of the things we'll bring up constantly is you'd like to face those guys without anybody on base.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Even though that ball ended up in the middle of the plate, it was still one that Pujols was on, but didn't have a great swing at. That wasn't where he recognized it immediately and was going after it. Normally, if he's able to do that, that ball doesn't come back. I mean, it's up on Greens Hill someplace or in a bullpen somewhere.
Truly amassing some of the all-time great numbers that the game has ever seen. And we'll get into that, no doubt, quite a bit this week with Pujols. Here's C.J. Cron, and he's having a pretty nice season lately. Has been swinging a very consistently good bat as well, and a sharp 2-hopper to Andrews. Thanks for the easy force out at second and a quiet top of the first for the Angels. Martin Perez sharp out of the gate tonight. First inning. We'll take a look at our Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Rangers. Jeff Bannister today goes with Carlos Gomez leading it off again in left field. Ian Desmond in center. Carlos Beltran, the switch-hitting DH, and Adrian Beltre, who's had great numbers against the Angels this year and in his career, is at cleanup. Rougned Odor, Jonathan Lucroy, and then first baseman Mitch Moreland. The order rounded out with Nomar Mazara and Elvis Andrus.
And that lineup for Jeff Bannister facing the 28-year-old right-hander Jhoulys Chacín. Chacín came over to the Angels back in May from the Atlanta Braves, and he has been in and out of the starting lineup, starting rotation. This is his 20th start of the year between Atlanta and Los Angeles. So Chacín, with a .280 opponent's batting average and an ERA rather inflated at 5.43.
Breaking ball in there for a strike to Carlos Gomez.
And Chacín just barely over 50% fastballs, a lot of cutters and sliders. He'll throw in an occasional change and a curveball, but mainly hard stuff, the cutter, slider, fastball.
Well, you mentioned he's been in and out of the rotation, spent some time in the bullpen, and was very effective in long relief for the Angels. 2-2 to Carlos Gomez.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that can warm up for 2 or 3 minutes and be ready to go, and seemingly do it every day. The Angels have had a need. I think they'd rather have him in the bullpen, but with Matt Shoemaker getting hit by the line drive and he's out for the rest of the year, and a couple of other injuries, they've had to go to Chacín as a starter for them.
Well, and he strikes out Gomez to start his evening. Carlos chasing a breaking ball upstairs, one away. Let's take a look at the defense behind Chacín today, and he will have Marte in left, Mike Trout covering the world, and then Shane Robinson in right. Yunel Escobar and Andrelton Simmons on the left side of the infield. Gregorio Petit and C.J. Cron on the right. Carlos Perez doing the catching tonight for Chacín. Well, now Ian Desmond. Desmond at .285 coming into play today. Still getting on base right around that .340 clip. And he shoots it foul. So the first of 3 tonight in this series. And then an off day on Thursday before the Rangers hit the road. And we'll have to talk a little bit about the magic number and the point that Emily brought up, Buzz, because I'm kind of with her. The first 2 weeks there's just hypersensitivity to everything. And it seems sometimes when you get toward the end, similar emotions can take place. Line drive base hit for Desmond. Rangers have a base runner.
Now, before I give you my answer there, that is the best at bat I've seen Ian Desmond have in the last week. Where he went up there, even the foul ball that he hit was hit very sharply. And that's good to see Ian doing that, because he's struggled a little bit with inconsistency of late. This a good at bat. Not trying to do anything that Chacín was not giving him, and Desmond hit that ball very hard to right field. You know, as far as the sample size and first part of the year, last part of the year, I don't think in the clubhouse it makes a terrible amount of difference because guys are focused at the start of the year on, hey, let's get ourselves rolling and work on this thing, get going as a team, and carry through an entire year. 162 games is a long time. Toward the end of the year, you've got one thing in mind if you're in the Rangers position, and that's finishing out the task you had to start the year, and that was to get to the postseason. It's not let's win the World Series or anything like that. It comes down to what is the first thing you can do. Well, the first thing you can do is win the division, which Rangers are on that quest right now. Then you worry about what happens after you win it. Then you worry about the first stage of the playoffs. Then finally you get if you're fortunate enough to get there, you say, okay, now we're in a position, let's win the World Series. But they don't cut it up into smaller pieces and say these are more important than the pieces before. It's just one long continuous string. If you did it the other way, if you got too emotional about different parts of the year, I think you'd end up being in a straitjacket after about July. Or I would anyway. I can't imagine going through and saying, gee, this is a big week, and week 17 of the year. Well, wait a minute here.
Yeah. Well, that's what and that's what we always hear. Now, as a fan, right, as somebody who's never been in that position, I mean, you tend to get a little wound up
Sure,
sometimes.
sure.
You know?
Well, and don't get me wrong. Players have that. Individuals have to battle that particular thing from time to time. You know, hitters go into slumps. Well, they got to battle their way out of that. And sometimes you can get caught up in what's going to happen tomorrow. Well, don't worry about tomorrow. Take care of it today, and maybe you'll get out of that slump. But it's much easier said than done.
So for somebody in my perspective, you know, I've had the opportunity to be around people like you in clubhouses and see the way you guys go about your business.
Sure.
It's fascinating, and it is truly amazing to watch you guys just kind of chip away at the daily task. The other thing to me, though, is Jeff Bannister, because he gets grilled on it every day.
Right.
I mean, from the reporters, and they'll ask it. If they don't get an answer, that first question, well, somebody will come back around the side door and ask it a different way. And he has to continually iterate. My focus is the Angels at 7:05 tonight.
That's right.
And so he can keep that, and yet there's that constant reminder, whether he likes it or not, from the people around him.
Sure, and as we were sitting there listening to Jeff answer question after question, as soon as the term magic number came up in the conversation, no, I'm not focused on magic number. That doesn't mean anything to me. What I'm focused on is Martin Perez, number 33, is pitching for us tonight against the Los Angeles Angels. That's where my focus is. And he has to, you know, it's good to remind the press of that. It also serves as a reminder to himself that, hey, don't get carried away with this stuff yet.
Meanwhile, Beltran really in quite the battle right here with Jhoulys Chacín. A 2-2 count. Desmond at first with that sharply hit single to right field. Boy, the Rangers, it would be all of what we just said notwithstanding, it would be very nice to get some early runs tonight from Martin Perez.
Yeah.
And this ball smashed down to first. Cron with a nice pick, goes to second for one, and it's an easy double play to end the inning. So a quiet first for both teams. We go to the second. By high-speed internet from AT&T. Well, nifty first inning for both starting pitchers tonight. Martin Perez and Jhoulys Chacín. And now Perez out for a second. He'll face Jeffrey Marte and Andrelton Simmons and Gregorio Petit. Rangers coming off a 3-game series this weekend with Oakland, where they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Oakland A's, and it's a pattern that has continued now all season, which is teams with sub 500 records have been really challenging for the Rangers. And here's yet another one. Mike Scioscia as his club in here 65 and 84. It has been another very long year in Los Angeles or Anaheim, depending on where indeed you believe they play. Count 0-2 on Marte. Marte's put up some pretty good power numbers this year. And he chases the 0-2 and pops it up for Mitch Moreland. One away in the second.
Now another good pitch by Martin Perez, getting that pitch in just like he did on Mike Trout. He got ahead in the count, 2 strikes, then got that fastball in and got the swing from Marte for the little pop-up.
All right, time for us to say hello to Jim Knox.
I appreciate it, Dave. Nice Monday night crowd here at Globe Life Park. We got some grandparents taking the grandkids out here at the game today. Armstrong's in from Fort Worth. You guys having a good time?
Great place to bring the kids tonight. We're glad to be here.
There we go. You girls have anything to say?
No.
Nothing.
He said, go Rangers!
All right. Well, good to have you. All right. Enjoy the game. They had nothing, Dave. Nothing.
Nothing. It's early. It's early, Knoxy. A bouncer up the middle. And Odor takes care of Simmons. 2 gone.
Noxie scared it right out of them. They were all set to give out a go Ranger, and Noxie scared them.
I bet that they will let loose with a go Ranger or 2 before this one's done tonight.
No doubt.
I'll tell you what, if Martin Perez keeps pitching like he has so far tonight, they might get a few in there. Martin looking very good here in these very early moments. Gregorio Petit, and starts him off with strike 1.
Yeah, Dave, I think part of the success for Martin Perez this year, he's much more comfortable pitching in this ballpark because of the Rangers' offense. They seem to get him some early runs most of the time. That relaxes him.
He turns in another 1, 2, 3 in the second. An inning and a half, no score tonight. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9, meticulously crafted for driving, because driving matters. And Adrian Beltre to start things off in this second inning. Chassin coming right after him. Beltre, Odor, and Jonathan Lucroy. It's quickly 0-2, so both guys coming out throwing strikes. Beltre with 30 home runs, 98 RBIs this year, and Another just fantastic year for him. We highlighted him in the Open, and you can truly put his name there in the Mount Rushmore of third baseman in Major League history for what he does on both sides. This one will end up in the seats.
Yeah, and you start enumerating the honors that he has been bestowed. It's just incredible. About the only thing, the longevity thing is not quite caught up with everything yet. Brooks Robinson still with more games played at third than Adrian. But with the 2-year contract extension, Adrian will get that pretty handily by the end of his second year. And he's a marvel, just a marvel.
And you consider all the great players who have come out of the Dominican Republic, and none have more hits than Adrian Beltre. I mean, he is, you know, when you think about where you stand in baseball's landscape, if you're the best that ever came out of the Dominican Republic, oh boy,
it's pretty good.
You're pretty good. 2-2. And that one in on his hands, and he fights off another one. And here's another thing we have seen with more and more regularity here in the second half, especially late second half, these longer at bats. Yeah, we've been having a little fun with Jake Beckley, and of course Rogers Hornsby, the guys next on the list for Adrian Beltre. And Bonds and Frank Robinson, my goodness, that's some company. Full count. And certainly no exaggeration when we said it over the weekend about Hornsby, the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. And Beltre, at the very least, will pass him in hits, and could happen here tonight. How do you do that?
I don't know. And he was out throwing again to Adrian Jr. this afternoon prior to batting practice, and he went down on a knee a couple times. He sees Dad do it, so well, if it's okay for Dad, it must be okay for me. That's amazing.
So the 10th pitch of the at-bat, and he'll walk. And that's what we're talking about. All the accolades that we put on Beltre, and this year more and more, especially lately, those types of at-bats, and when you do get to the postseason, those are going to be big time.
Yeah, and once the calendar turned to August for Adrian Beltre, it's like flipping a light switch. It's Adrian said, okay, I got it from here on in. I'll take care of it. And yeah, he's hit to the tune of about 350 since the first day of August. Just amazing.
Yeah, he's been on a real power surge lately as well. Well, out there at first for Rougned Odor. And as long as we're talking about guys having career years, well, here you go. 31 home runs, a career best for Rougned Odor. 85 RBIs. He's establishing career marks for himself in pretty much every category. Just 22 years old. And it's 0-2. And that is a big part of the magic of what the Rangers have done in this 2016 season. All the great stories of the veterans like Beltre and the additions of Carlos Beltran, and yet the steady contributions of great young players like Rougned Odor and Nomar Mazara. Count stays 0-2.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can put a value on the being around Adrian Beltre, being around Elvis Andrus, for Rougned Odor I'm talking about, for the value to him of watching these guys go through their daily business and how they conduct themselves, how they carry themselves on and off the field. For Rougned, it's just an added bonus.
Pops this one up. Playable. Perez will handle it. And he really, not that he was the only one who could have handled it, but Mel Escobar was shaded way over. It would have been a long run for him. So one out. Let's go down to Emily Jones.
You guys were talking about Adrian and Elvis and what it is for, you know, Rugi, all the young guys to be around him. I talked to Nomar Mazara this week about, you know, being in this situation for the first time, and he said he's always paid attention to those guys, the older guys, as to how they were acting and the things that they were doing. He said, but especially since that calendar turned to September, really paying attention to how he's supposed to go about his business this time of year, because he realizes it's a different situation. So the younger guys being extra observant, especially this time of year.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. And he has so much to learn. Golly, for a guy like Nomar Mazara, every day has been a big learning experience. Lucroy, very good career numbers against Chassin. And he hammers this ball out to left field. Back on it, Marte, and he'll make the catch. Tacking at first, but holding is Beltre. And he'll have to get back in a hurry. A little scary there. 2 gone. And boy, Lucroy just missed.
Yeah, he did. He got that pretty solidly, but tonight, ball not quite carrying when it gets up in the air. There's enough breeze blowing in from center field. The high fly ball is going to get cut down a little bit. But, yeah, Adrian, you got to be careful. Anytime the ball goes to Andrelton Simmons out there, he's got a cannon, and he loves to show it off too.
Adrian able to get back. I mean, just whiskers ahead of that one, and now Mitch Moreland. Yeah, there's Simmons. Boy, what a talent he is at short. The arm, the range, the complete package. Moreland lines out to Crone, and the inning is over. So a leadoff walk is wasted, and we'll go to the third, no score. Seasons and place a deposit for your 2017 season tickets. Don't miss out on any of the thrilling Rangers action. Go to texasrangers.com/seasons today. Well, what a season it has been so far. Rangers magic number at 5. And hoping to shave at least 1 off that number tonight by their own doing as Martin Perez goes back to work here in the third. Carlos Perez, their starting catcher tonight. He has been up and down a couple of times with his club. It's 1-2. Boy, Martin seems to be right around the zone a lot tonight.
Yeah, he sure is, Dave. You're right, and he has established the ball in the strike zone at will tonight against the Angels.
This one flared out towards center. Going to hang up there a little bit for Ian Desmond. 1 away.
And that's the first ball that's been to the outfield in the air for an out. That's always a good sign for Perez.
All right, Kubota power stats tonight. Martin Perez just about through the order for the first time. Yeah, how about that? 2 or fewer earned runs in almost all of his home starts this year, all but 3 of them. He just has been dominant here at Globe Life Park. And once again, strike 1, this time to Shane Robinson. So, question I want to ask you about lineup science, right? Because today we see Mike Scioscia, and he's obviously a veteran, 17 years at the helm here with Anaheim, and he knows what he's doing. But he's gone all right-handed.
Right.
And I've heard some guys talk about, you know, even though the splits for lefties are horrible against Martin Perez, that you'd still be well served to sprinkle 1 or 2 in just to change Martin's perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess you could think about it that way. You know, if you're going to go right-handed, I don't think it makes any difference to the guy on the mound. If they're all right-handed, he's going to have problems with the 7, 8, or 9 right-handers that are in there. If he's going to have trouble against right-handed, I don't know. I've never heard that line of reasoning for sprinkling in a left-hander that is not going to be able to hit him.
Yeah. I guess the theory being that, you know, he can get right-handers out, and sometimes for him that might require him, you know, to really kind of get real comfortable with a certain pitch in a certain part of the or area of the zone, and that if he never has to change his perspective, he can keep working on that same thing all night till he masters it.
Well, you're assuming that all right-handed hitters are created equal.
Well,
you know, that they handle the same pitches, they can't handle the same pitches, and I don't think that's true. You know, you've got guys that hit the ball the other way. You've got power hitters. You've got guys that take a lot of pitches, whether they're right-handed or left-handed. I don't think you find that at the big league level to be a particularly difficult proposition for major league pitchers to be able to go right-handed or left-handed, depending on what it is. You know, you have stuff to battle each of them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten to the big leagues.
it's 1-1, and a little bouncer up the middle. Odor has some trouble with it, but gets it to first in time. Boy, he stayed with that one. Little bobble getting it out of the glove, but completes another 1-2-3 for Martin Perez. And we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd scoreless. Well, we're down to 2 Texas Chili Company $1 hot dog nights left this season. Next one coming up this Wednesday. Angels here for the final game of this 3-game series with the Rangers. Coming out to the ballpark early. Enjoy all the hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Go ahead and get your tickets today. TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, Nomar Mazara takes a breaking ball for his strike. In the bottom of the third inning, Mazara, Elvis Andrus, and then back to the top four, Carlos Gomez. Each team with one hit so far against the opposing starter. Guys throwing strikes so far tonight. Our TXU Energy Power Player to watch, Nomar Mazara. Yeah, he's enjoyed Angels pitching this year. Oh, smash that one foul. Was that his debut or?
Yes,
right,
it
in
was.
Anaheim
Against Jared Weaver. Hit a solo home run off him, went 3 for 4 that day. The 10th of April, as a matter of fact, Sunday afternoon.
And more or less. Right. That's a pretty good recall. 2-2.
I think you always have a soft spot for the team you made your major league debut against and did well. If you did well, you know, there's always little things that stick out in your mind. That stuck out in my mind because of what he did to Weaver.
Right.
He was not impressed with Jared Weaver, let's put it that way, which is something for a then 20-year-old coming to the big leagues.
And he'll bounce this one on the right side of the infield. Scooped up by Petit. And there is one out. Well, let's go back to that Sunday. Back in early April.
Took balls each way against Weaver. Slow and then slower. And then finally he said, well, I've done that now. I'll do something different. Wham. Up on the hitter's backdrop. Just to the right of dead center field.
Yeah, that's a pretty good first day. Think he remembers?
Yes, I'm sure he does. He'll get another shot at him on Wednesday.
Yep. 2-0 to Elvis Andrus. You said earlier today with regard to Elvis, the best all-round season in his career so far, and there's not a whole lot left in this regular season. This is game 151. They're now inside 2 weeks to go. Chopper right side. Way off the back for it. Crone and Chacin can't get there in time. Great hustle by Elvis Andrus, and he'll have an infield hit.
Mike Soch is going to hold up proceedings here just for a second to let his video people take a look at that one. Nice job by Elvis, though, trying to take the ball that way and then beating Chacin to the bag. Yep, I think you're gonna have that call in the Rangers' favor.
Yeah, I doubt there will be a review of that, so they will let it go. Yeah, so Soch has already said, nope, no worries. We've seen enough.
You know, the only danger part of that is if Chacin were to step on Elvis's hand, not because he was trying to, but by accident. That's one of the dangers of going in there with the head first dive.
Now Gomez. Carlos struck out swinging in the first. Well, that conversation has been had at least 1,000 times. That it's still faster to run through the bag and not to dive. And then your point, which is especially when you have somebody covering the bag like that on the run, you're really exposing the hand to some danger there.
Yeah, the only problem, Dave, is guys get so used to doing that, and you know, for whatever reason, some guys think it looks cool, make you look like you're hustling, and whatever the reason is, you get used to doing it from the time you're 7 or 8 or 10 years old, and it's a hard habit to break. You know, it starts resonating in your mind that, hey, if I dive, I get there faster, even though it's been proven that you don't. Still, it's a hard habit to break, and instinct takes over at some point. Like I'm sure Elvis wasn't avoiding a tag, but he decided that I'm going to get there faster. And until you have something really bad happen to you from doing that, you're not going to change.
He's got a small lead. Gomez Lifts a high fly ball into right center. Ranging well over from center field is Trout. 2 away. Well, let's visit with John Radigan on a Chevy game break. What a big series that is, too. Thanks, John. Just a really big series. Is the first pitch to Desmond taken for a strike. Boston, to me, feels like they've got control of that division.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think Baltimore is feeling that it's slipping away from them little by little.
That could change these next 3 days. That could change dramatically, of course. But I think if I'm Baltimore, well, no doubt if you're Baltimore, your focus is still the division. But they also currently have one of the wild card spots. You can see the magic number for the Red Sox still a robust 11. One upstairs, 2-1 to Desmond. So Boston with the 3-game lead. Baltimore and Toronto trailing both in the division, but then have the wild cards for the moment. Toronto, though, on a treacherous road trip. 2-2 on Ian.
Yeah, Toronto's playing in Seattle, and the way Seattle's been playing, I would think they are very wary of going into Safeco Field. They only have a 1-game lead, or I should say a 1-game deficit from in the wild card. Toronto does. They're 1 game behind Baltimore, but then Seattle not too far behind them. They're 2 games back along with Detroit.
Yeah, I tend to forget that Detroit is still in the mix because they keep getting whooped by the Cleveland Indians, but they're very much in the mix. There you go. There's your wild card look. Houston, I mean, remarkably, the Astros still have a heartbeat. I mean, that's a legitimate shot that they have. Bouncer up the middle, smothered by Simmons, but safe at second base. Great hustle. And Andrews keeps the inning alive.
Another base hit for Ian Desmond, another multi-hit game, and maybe a time that Elvis should have slid going into second base. Maybe he had him backwards. He had the reasoning backwards, that trip to the bases.
He was probably working over that play at first. I said, gosh darn it,
why did I go in there head first?
You know those knuckleheads are talking about it upstairs. Well, that could be a very, very big play. Now, Beltran up there with 2 men on. It looked as if he was going to be leading off the 4th inning. We talked earlier about a big part of this game and this series will be facing guys like Trout and Pujols with the bases empty. Well, same thing for Anaheim. They want to face Beltran with nobody on base and Adrian Beltre with nobody on. Well, this is a great opportunity, and now a pickoff throw goes awry.
That hit Elvis either on the arm or the shoulder. I'm not sure. Maybe the elbow. That throw was not deflected by Simmons. It hit him flush. The throw from Chacin. Kevin Harmon going to go out there along with Jeff Bannister and see exactly what happened to their shortstop.
What an adventure on the bases for Elvis this inning. Outs. Oh, got both.
Got them both. Whew. So both the guys we talked about in our opening remarks, or I should say in the pregame, get nailed by one throw. Elvis got hit on the elbow, and Simmons gets hit right upside the head.
I don't know who got it worse. That's a bizarre play. And Simmons got that one right near the eye.
Yeah.
And that is always a little scary. In his case, so it was slowed down at least by Elvis. Let's take another look.
And not much.
Yeah. That definitely still had a little bit on it. Not that Elvis needs an excuse to chat with anybody out there, but he's going to work on Simmons and Chacin a little bit. There's a ball hit well to center, but slicing into Trout for the final out of the inning. Boy, hit well by Beltran, but the Rangers leave a pair, and we're through 3 scoreless. Let's go to Rick Renner in our Rooms to Go lounge.
Arlington is the opener of a 3-game series between the Angels and the Rangers, and that magic number for Texas is now down to 5 with 12 games to play. And even though it seems it's inevitable, Mitch Moreland says there's enough guys who have been in this position before to not count their chickens before they hatch.
Definitely helps. You know, we've got a lot of guys in here with a ton of experience, you know, some postseason experience, and a few guys that are still around from, you know, even back when we made it to the World Series those 2 years. So, you know, that kind of drives us and helps us a little bit more, and makes you want it even more.
So drawing on that experience from 2010 and 11, very important, but just as important probably is drawing on that experience from 2012 when they were in command of the American League West. And then, of course, everything came down to that last game of the season. They ultimately ended up in that wild card game and then got bounced after just 1 game. So they've been in both of those situations before, guys.
Thanks, Emily. Well, Mike Trout hit that ball hard up the middle, and Odor couldn't quite handle it. So the Angels have a man on to start the 4th inning.
Looked like that ball got right under Rugned's glove and got him on the foot. Foot or ankle. It just didn't come up for him the way he thought it was going to.
Right off that instep. That thing was moving a little bit too. Boy, dangerous day to be on the infield, man.
Bermuda Triangle out there around second.
Indeed. Well, for Odor, that's his 21st error of the year, most among second basemen. Tough one, not a routine spot for him, I guess. You know, positioned on the opposite side of the bag, and that ball was moving. And Pujols bats with a man on base.
And a good guy to maybe encourage to ground into a double play. Angels have grounded into the most double plays in the American League as a team.
Now, there would be a very good recipe here. Pujols has done it 23 times this year. That one hit well to center, however, and Desmond will have to take care of it himself and settle for 1 out.
Always a little scary when the big guy hits a fly ball that has that kind of an angle to it. I've seen too many of those over the years leave the ballpark. Just got that one probably down toward the trademark hair, not by much.
Well, 590 times anyway, he has found the other side of the fence. But not this time. With 1 out, here is C.J. Cron. They continue to set up very traditionally on the infield at double play depth with Andrus and Odor. Both pinched in a little bit. Outfield very straight up. That's become as notable as anything in this day and age, is when you play a guy straight away.
Yeah, you saw him overshift on Trout, but I think with both Cron and Pujols, they have the ability and the strength to hit the ball the other way, and they have the inclination too. I don't think Trout, with the bases empty, has that much of a desire to hit the ball the other way. But these two guys, the guy on especially, where you can move him around, would tend to take the ball the other way if given that option.
Perez keeping an eye on Mike Trout. Well, how about that?
Yeah, that's great to see. You have the confidence and the desire and the execution to use that many fastballs.
And he gets C.J. Cron swinging. His first strikeout tonight, 2 away here in the 4th inning.
Then you're able to throw that changeup, and you've established the strike zone already. You put Cron in a defensive mindset to where he has to swing the bat, and that changeup perfectly located, then down and just out of the strike zone.
So now it's Jeffrey Marte who popped up in the 2nd inning. The other thing about those numbers we saw a moment ago for Martin is just the scarcity of pitches overall at this point in the game for him. He's been nice and efficient.
Yeah, he has the ability to do that, Dave. He has the ability to make the team that he's pitching against swing the bats, and he doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. Hasn't the entire year, but he can get guys swinging the bat up there early in the count when he throws strikes, first, second pitches.
Well, for one of the rare times tonight, he has fallen behind an Angels hitter. 2-0 on Marte. Marte does have a little power. Certainly not on the same level or magnitude as Trout and Pujols earlier this inning. 2-1 the count, but the rookie has had a notable season, and the Angels have turned out a number of young players recently who have been able to hit double-digit home runs in their rookie campaigns. You think of C.J. Cron last year, Trout 2012, Trumbo 2011. Now it's Marte. A favorable count for him here with 2 out in the top of the 4th inning. Might indeed be the first 3-ball count that Perez has had tonight. It's a full count now. I say that, Buzz, totally anecdotally. I don't have any data in front of me to tell me that. It just feels that way.
Well, 42 pitches, excuse me, for the first 11 outs. You would think there haven't been many 3-ball counts. Don't have room for him.
Fans trying to help him out here as he's looking for the final out of this 4th inning. He and Lucroy have been in sync. And there's strike 3 called. So back-to-back punch-outs for Martin Perez. Another scoreless inning. And Adrian Beltre will lead it off when we come back.
Adrian Beltre.
And he will start things off in the 4th inning. Another magical year for the 37-year-old veteran. And no doubt, future Hall of Famer. And this really is a special series. And when you get into the last 2 weeks of the season and you can square off 2 teams with a player like Adrian Beltre and Carlos Beltran against guys like Albert Pujols and Mike Trout, the game's finest on display this week here at Globe Life Park. Beltre up there swinging, and a sinking liner into right field. His first hit of the night. How about that, Buzz? He had a 10-pitch at bat in the 2nd to earn the walk. A little different strategy.
Well, so now he's averaging 5.5 pitches per plate appearance, right?
That's right. All right, our Ford leaderboard, career home runs against the Angels. And there you see Beltre tied with Reggie Jackson coming into today. And sneaking up on Armand Killebrew, Rafi, A-Rod.
Well, poor Reggie's getting passed up every time he turns around lately.
Yeah, it's been a difficult week for him. Odor fouls off strike 1. Rutten had 0 for 1. Popped up in the 2nd inning. Yeah, Reggie was a part of the conversation all weekend with Chris Davis in town.
Yeah. Chris Davis passed him with 2 home runs yesterday, and Reggie had to take a back seat now to 3 other guys against the Rangers.
Odor with a big swing, but pops it up into short right field. And Robinson with plenty of time to get there, 1 away. That'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy. Let's get the way back machine. Oh, Harmon Killebrew. Yeah, he was a strong one.
Who at 35 years of age should have many more 4-baggers left in that big bat.
Amazing player and an amazing man. Had the good fortune of being teammates with Harmon for about 4 months, 5 months in Kansas City.
That's a different kind of strong too, right?
Yeah, totally. He might have been the strongest man I've ever been around.
Really?
Just sheer brute strength. But you saw by the length of his swing. He could have swung in a phone booth and not hit either side.
0-1 to Jonathan Lucroy. Yeah, and when we talk about kind of country strong back in the day, because that was part of the gig, right? In baseball, boy, you did not lift a weight. You wouldn't pick up a weight, man. That would ruin your game. Now guys work out all the time. So the strength guys played with in those days, man, that was, say natural, but it came from real work. Lucroy flied out in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. I know we say it all the time with catchers. You just want them to call a good game and work well with the pitcher, and he's done that tonight.
There's nothing wrong, though, if a catcher hits a home run for you every now and then.
No doubt.
Don't mind that. Won't hold it against him. Let's put it that way.
Well,
and he's done that.
Yes, he has. he has had a career year with 23 home runs this year in his time with Milwaukee and with Texas. And he's sneaking up on a career high in RBIs. It's full count. I think 82 was his career best a few years ago with the Brewers. And currently sitting with 78 RBIs. Likely, of course, to get the necessary runs batted in to establish career highs in that category. He's hit safely in 8 of his last 10 games. I'll check in on Beltre.
Adrian said, "Thank you for the compliment." You got to respect speed.
One stolen base this year and 2 attempts.
Yeah.
Showing some respect. Not going, and the payoff pitch.
Oh, look
off the ankle. That's a brutal shot by Lucroy. Came right to C.J. Cron, and he'll retire Lucroy, but boy, that was a rocket off Chacin.
Yeah, I would be very surprised. That hit him solid, too. The way it carried him, it didn't quite get to the foul line even. I would be very surprised if he can get up under his own power. Man.
Yeah, the first thing you want to know is was the foot planted in the ground when it hit him? That's not good. You know, if it could be off the ground, might afford you a little of a break. That's not good. All the weight on that leg.
There's not a whole lot of padding where that ball hit either.
No.
Right there in the bottom part of the shin.
And I don't think slow motion does it a lot of justice because, boy, live, that was brutal. Yeah, there you see 101 basically off the bat. Now, we used the term earlier, country strong. You're standing up after that one. You've got my respect.
Yeah, able to stand up. Now, I would question whether he's going to be able to land on that and have any stability. That's his landing leg. Whether he would have any stability out there. Maybe he would. Yeah, it looks like he's all right.
How about that guy?
Yeah. Hats off to you.
Well, they have had just a devastating year, the Angels, with pitcher injuries. Mike Scioscia's had to navigate some real troubled waters again here in 2016. And in fact, that's why Chacin's in the rotation. He made the start Wednesday because Tyler Skaggs was hurt. And so he came back into the rotation last Wednesday, and now this is his second start since coming out of the bullpen. And that's just been a very big part of the story for the Angels this year. And a respectful round of applause for Chacin staying in. Matt Shoemaker, he took a line drive off the head. Now that was a little less than a month ago, and that was, you talk about a frightening scene.
Yeah.
Had to have surgery to stop the bleeding on the brain, and he is done for the year. But they've lost Garrett Richards this year, Andrew Heaney, Nick Tropiano, C.J. Wilson, all done for the year. So they could ill afford to lose Chacin. Beltre now out at scoring position for Mitch Moreland. And the right-hander starts him off with a real nice breaking ball. Adrian is just the second runner in this game to get as far as second base. And just like that, 0-2 on Moreland, who lined out to his opposite number back of the second inning. He's 0 for 1 tonight. Mitch has been fighting it a little bit lately, although had some real good swings in Friday night's game against Oakland. Some signs that he's feeling a little better and might be coming out of it. All right, we've been in the Wayback Machine a little bit. That's Kevin Mench and Roy Halladay taking a very similar shot. Halladay, that broke his leg. That was back in 2005. It's tough. You know, you're 60 feet 6 inches away, but by the time they end up releasing that ball, it's like 55 feet. And there's a strike called to Moreland, inning over. So started with a base hit, left with a man at second, and we're scoreless through 4. Well, you can see what happened at the end of that fourth inning. Moreland didn't like that call. Whoa! And Kerwin Danley had a very short fuse. You know, the problem I have with that, Buzz, is Danley, long before he threw Moreland, he could have turned away. Why was he following him? Moreland was headed to the dugout.
I'm not sure. I don't have an answer for you, Dave.
Yeah, that's rhetorical. So Profar comes in to take over at first base. Moreland ejected after the called third strike. And really kind of an odd development. Bouncer down to third. Long throw for Beltre. Plenty of time to get Andrelton Simmons. And another dazzling defensive play tonight. But this infield, you're on high alert when Martin Perez is starting. And they have been spectacular.
Yeah, the Rangers now have gone 7 straight games coming into tonight, as a matter of fact, without an error before the error to Rougned Odor. But they have been very, very solid defensively in the last week. And yeah, you're right, with Martin out there, you know you're going to be busy.
All right, now just pumping strikes in there. Angels are turning them right back around for quick outs. And Gregorio Petit, he did so in the second inning with a ground out to short. Shoots that one foul to fall behind 0-2. Martin Perez, 10-10 this year. It's his 31st start. And easily most in his career. He's never started more than 20 games in a season. And he is one of the great ground ball pitchers in the game, as those numbers would attest. He has done really well against the Angels. And you look how he has fared against them here. A microscopic earned run average. Not as well on the road. And a bouncer first. Nice play by Profar. 2 gone. So you come in the game, and you bet you're going to get an opportunity to shine as well.
Now that's where being a right-handed first baseman has its advantages. Left-hander, you have to reach across his body to go after that. But Profar going to the line, it's on his glove side. Didn't make it a whole lot easier, but enough that Jurickson able to make a nice grab and then win the race to the bag.
So 2 ground ball outs here in the 5th inning. And now Carlos Perez, the Angels catcher, who flied out in the 3rd. Rangers play him pretty much straight up. I mean, if anything, you look at Odor at second and say, well, maybe he shaded a little up the middle, but that, let's just say 10 years ago, that still would have counted as pretty much standard alignment. 1-1 to Perez now. Getting those ground ball outs. And working quickly. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, good rhythm, good tempo. Short time in between pitches, and Martin has it going for him.
Well, he just knows exactly what he wants to do with each pitch. Fly ball center field. A lot of room out there for Ian Desmond. And it's a 1-2-3 5th inning for Martin Perez. Boy, is he sharp tonight. Halfway to the house, no score. Third show of the season coming up Friday, September 30th, courtesy of Big Green Egg. Come support the Rangers. They will face the Tampa Bay Rays. Use coupon code FIREWORKS. Get upper level tickets for just $14 at TexasRangers.com/specials. Youngsters out on a school night. And Jhoulys Chacín back out for a 5th inning after taking a line drive at 100.9 miles per hour off his leg last inning. Nomar Mazara, first pitch swinging, hits one well out to left. Going back on it is Marte, and it's gone. Number 19 on the year for Nomar Mazara. Rangers lead 1-0.
Nomar loves hitting against the Los Angeles Angels. Whether it's out there or here, it really doesn't matter to him. Well, that is a pretty good pop, 390 plus feet, the opposite alley. That man has some strength, doesn't he?
Oh, he does indeed. There you go, Mark Teixeira, the last to hit as many as 19 as a rookie for the Rangers. We got to go back 13 years. Now Elvis Andrus, look out. So he's now 1 away from that 20 mark, and that will give the Rangers 7 guys with 20 home runs this year.
And Nomar, nice piece of hitting there. Chacín gets the ball up a little bit to him. That helps Nomar get a little elevation on the ball. Good looking swing there. Stayed right with it. Body nice and quiet.
2-1 now to Andrus. Marte was hopeful, made a good effort. Just enough. Chacín misses the outside corner by a smidge. 3-1. So the scoring seal is officially broken. The Rangers on the board. And what has been a very well pitched game by both teams. And there is the offense right there. 21 years old. Another of the very dynamic young players on this Rangers team enjoying this exceptional ride in 2016. I say enjoying it. I mean, he's a large part of it, for crying out loud.
Yes, he is. Big contributor.
That was not really in the playbook at the end of spring training. We didn't know Nomar Mazara would be here. Shin-Soo Choo injured early in the year, and Mazara got a shot, and the rest is history. Slicing into the seats. Speaking of Shin-Soo Choo, let's check in with Emily Jones. You got an update?
Yeah, Dave, he is chomping at the bit to get back for this team. He took swings once again off the tee for the 2nd straight day today. Just a matter of days before he starts to take it live BP, and then we'll eventually go out to the instructional league to take care of some business there before hopefully rejoining the team toward the end of the regular season, hopefully in the playoffs.
Yeah, still very much a possibility. Thanks, Emily. And that would be a big boost for this team. Now let's check in with John Radigan on a Chevy Game Break. Called strike. Carlos Gomez, well, I mean, he went around, so it's a swinging strike officially. Pat Holberg down there at first, ringing him up. Gomez has taken over the leadoff duties. Looked like he was asking for time, didn't get it granted. Completely disengaged on that pitch, but 1-1 the count. Worked out for him. Now works himself ahead. So we talk about the possibility of Choo coming back, and one of the great advantages of having him back for the postseason, if indeed he's able, is he could take over the leadoff spot again. Where Gomez How about this? Now, started 7 in a row at leadoff. Yesterday batted second. Today back in that spot, but a .367 on base percentage as the Rangers leadoff man, but an OPS of 1136.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some pop. 4 home runs out of the leadoff spot. So he's certainly taken the opportunity and run with it. I don't know what to call that last swing.
That's what you call getting tied up. Right in on his fist. Should I swing? No, up, too late. Sorry. I'd have to sit down and admire that.
Safe. Fouled off again. So he'll get an 8th pitch in this at bat, just like a leadoff man. A little extra work. And the power with the Rangers has come in a hurry after a very frustrating majority of the season with the Houston Astros. Frustrating for Carlos Gomez and frustrating for the Astros. The 3-2 goes down and gets it, and that one's going to drop in, base hit. So Gomez with a great at bat ends up with a base hit with 1 out here in the 5th inning. Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. John Radigan just updating us on some of the wild card implications. And how about these guys? This is a pitching matchup right here, Buzz. What is it, September?
Those guys have a few strikeouts between them, don't they?
Almost 3,000.
Yep. They are pretty special pitchers. Good to see Clayton Kershaw too back toiling for the Dodgers. I know he was heartbroken when he had to miss 2 months of the season, but he's back there now. And well, the Giants, it couldn't come at a worse time as far as the Giants were concerned to have to face Kershaw.
Although I keep scratching my head, how are the Giants still in the conversation? This one swung on and lifted high in the air, but not going to carry for Ian Desmond. Trout is there to make the catch, and a very rare miscue on his part. He assumed that was the final out.
Yeah.
Didn't cost him. Gomez flashed for a moment as if he might take second. Well, you don't see that from Trout very often at all. Watch the reaction after he made the catch. Let's go hit. Whoops.
Yeah, why isn't everybody else running off the field? That's 3rd out, right? No.
So Gomez still at first, and Beltran takes ball 1. Beltran 0 for 2 tonight, hit into a wild double play back in the 1st inning, and then lined out to Trout to end the 3rd.
He had a pitch there to work with. I think Carlos would like to ask for a mulligan here. Waited on that off-speed pitch pretty well, and it stayed up for him. Couldn't quite connect.
But didn't get cheated on the swing either.
Nope.
So the veteran designated hitter pops this one foul out of play, and it's 1-2. We were talking earlier about the special impact of guys like Beltran and Adrian Beltre in the game in general, the impact they've had on this team in 2016. Jeff Bannister today, I thought, really said it beautifully in 2 words: living libraries. 2-2 the count.
Yep,
that's what they are. It's hard, I think, for a lot of us to understand fully what we've had the opportunity to watch, or are having the opportunity to watch. I don't know if fans knew when they were watching Lou Gehrig as an example, if they really appreciated it as much as we would now.
Yeah, having known what the outcome was.
Right.
Yeah.
Where their spot would be in history. But we know now, we have the context of 120 years or so now to know that it's special for what number 29 has been doing.
And we have a couple more years to watch him too in a Ranger uniform, which is nice to know.
Beltran waiting on a 3-2. Runner goes, and a swing and a miss. There's a strikeout to in the 5th. Rangers though get the scoring started. Nomar Mazara, the rookie, with a blast the other way, and it's 1-0 as we head to the 6th. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest, brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Great pitching tonight. Rangers leading 1-0 on the strength of Nomar Mazara's home run. Martin Perez, he has been the highlight of the great pitching on this Monday night. And first pitch, a roller to short. Andrews takes care of Shane Robinson, and there's one out.
Well, through 5 1/3, in my estimation, this is the best we've seen Martin Perez work this year. He's had a couple of other outings that went into 7 innings. He got through 7 innings. But pitch counts not anywhere near what they are right now. He's got 53 pitches under his belt for 16 outs. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and he has had an error made behind him tonight, and it didn't cost him too much. Escobar fouls one off for strike one. Escobar 0 for 2. There's your pitch count by inning. The error came, as you might guess, in that 4th inning.
Yeah, you might point out too that one of the problems that Martin had run into was an error or a misplay behind him. He didn't always have the ability to make up for that.
This ball hit well out to the power alley and then got stuck. And Escobar does not have great speed, trying for third, and he is out. Not even close. And I don't know what his confusion is.
Escobar is saying that Mazara threw his hands up as if to say, hey, that ball's unplayable. Unfortunately, that's not in the ground rules here.
And if it was, how do you explain running to third then? if you're under the assumption that it's a ground rule double, where were you going? And even if you weren't under the assumption it was a ground rule double, I would ask that question. Where were you going?
Yeah.
Yunel Escobar, you are not fast enough to be trying that.
Now, Joe West is going to explain it to Mike Socha. We'll take another look at it. For that to come into effect, for the outfielder to throw his arms up in the air, it has to get stuck completely under there. And it looked like Nomar was able to reach down and pluck it out, so it couldn't have been stuck. And Escobar, I think, just was a little embarrassed by it.
And you never saw Mazzaro raise his hands up or even come close to it. You did see him struggle picking it up with the bare hand.
Yeah. He reached down there and didn't come up with it first.
Now Joe West talking it over with his crewmates. I mean, he never made it to third. And now Joe will try and give some further explanation to Mike Scioscia. Maybe Scioscia asking them to review it.
Yeah.
Lord knows I've been wrong before, but I cannot imagine that they will find anything here that's going to come to the defense of Yunel Escobar. Joe West, the crew chief. Kerwin Danley, the plate umpire. Two men on headsets. Take a look again. Never raised his hands. Ball did stop. Struggled getting it out initially. Yep. But I don't think that's going to be cause for.
You wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so out there. Pete Falcone, by the way, the gentleman in the middle of Pete pitched for a number of years in the big leagues.
Well, this is one of those that you almost wonder what exactly the challenge is. How's it worded? I mean, what are we looking for on video?
I would think the only thing you could rule it is a boundary play.
Wow. How about that?
Jeff Bannister is going to ask for an explanation.
Oh boy, it's been a tough night already for Banny. And he may not be long for this one, depending on how this conversation goes. Yep, and there goes Banny. He's been ejected. Second ejection tonight of a Ranger. Mitch Moreland ejected for the first time in his career earlier tonight. And now Bannister has been thumbed by Joe West. And he's going to get his money's worth now. And you can see when the conversation was about to begin that Joe West was prepared to have none of it.
Well, the umpires can't take any of it if you're arguing for an explanation on a review. There is no argument. You can't do it. You're automatically thrown out.
They don't let you get on the headset and yell at the guys back at Chelsea Market. The scoring goes down as a ground rule double. They challenged that the ball was lodged, and the ruling on the field was that it was not lodged. Right? That it was a live ball and a 9-4-5 put out. But on the challenge, they overturned that. Said no, it was definitely lodged under the padding, and it's a ground rule double. Well, that's something else right there. One out, and Escobar at second base. Jeff Bannister ejected. And now Mike Trout. Really good quick pick-off move to second base by Perez. Trout, by just about any metric you want to use, the best all-round player in the game. And yet a guy who does struggle against Martin Perez. 3 for 18 now in his career against Perez. 0 for 2 tonight.
And an important spot here for Martin. This is one of those situations that would have gotten to him before in the season. And it would be a big boost for him and for the Rangers if he can get out of this unscathed. And having Mike Trout up there, who against whom he's had good success, as you were just detailing, Dave, is very important for him.
A little bit in, and it is 2-0. It is the first time tonight that the Angels have gotten a man out to second base. That's one issue, and you're right. On a night where everything has gone perfectly.
Yep.
I mean, really about as well as it could possibly go for Martin Perez. An odd situation. Kind of shakes this thing up, and it's always been about how he reacts in game. It's 2-0. Doesn't get the call from Danley. First base empty, but you got Albert Pujols waiting on deck. And this is the guy, amazingly enough, if you're Martin Perez, this is the guy you want to go after.
It's also not the guy you want to give 3-0 a fastball down the middle to.
Wow. 3-1.
Fortunately, he was taken that time. That's 3-1 is no day at the beach with him either. But you know, once you get behind a guy like Trout, you have to remember the first base is open, even though you have Pujols up next. Trout hitting at 3-0, 3-1, even 3-2. Much preferable, I think, to work carefully to him.
Smashed off the bag, and that's a fair ball. Escobar will round third and score. Mazzara wrestling with the ball out of the corner. And Trout will have a triple. This game tied at 1. Now that just did stay fair. Enough to hit the bag, and then, I mean, Omar Mazzara's had some challenging plays out there in this inning. So for Trout, his 91st RBI of the year.
Now Trout able to take that pitch pretty much in the middle of the plate, inside out it, right off the bag, and he is extremely strong going that way.
So Pujols now. And a fly ball right field. Nomar will come in, make the catch, and Trout is not going to test him, and that's why. Wow. That big boy's got some outfield assists this year too, and had one taken off the board earlier in the inning.
About a 200-foot fly ball off Pujols. The big thing was getting Pujols to hit the ball that softly, to keep it that close to home plate. Nomar not taking any chance at all. He had a good solid throw.
So now with 2 gone, C.J. Cron, who's 0 for 2. And Martin comes right after him again. So seems to have settled back down into that same groove we've seen all night. Oh, 2. He struck out Cron in the 4th inning. One of 2 strikeouts for Perez tonight. His fans have been stirred up just a little bit here in the 6th. And a comebacker. Odor will finish it off. Trout left at third. A 1-1 game. We go to the bottom of the 6th at Globe Life Park. for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot worth $200 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run this inning, Karen Grisham from Hot Springs, Arkansas wins $200. Now, if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Karen wins $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Good luck, Karen. Well, there's a guy who will begin things for the Rangers in this sixth inning, but the Angels have gone to the bullpen for the first time tonight. Mike Morin, the right-handed pitcher, 25 years old, comes on.
Yeah, Marlin had played his collegiate ball back at North Carolina. 57th appearance. Rangers have seen a lot of him over the last couple of years. Great changeup, very good fastball, and a great changeup.
And he gets strike one on Beltre. Beltre has had an interesting night tonight. A 10-pitch at bat of the second, in which he walked and then slammed the first pitch he saw in the fourth into right field for a hit. This one a little off the plate, and it's 1-1. So a couple of off-speed offerings, slider then changeup from Morin, and now we'll see if Beltre maybe gets a fastball. Shoot it foul. Count 1-2. He did get the heater, but couldn't straighten it out. Busy rookie campaign for Morin. Is 1-2. Just a little low.
Adrian got down there to take a good look at that one. He was right down at eye level.
Well, the Angels have been using everybody in that bullpen. Scioscia hasn't been afraid to get everybody involved. So with Morin in, they already have activity bustling down there, and a strikeout of Beltre starts the sixth. It was the slider that time from Morin. A 1-1 game. Nomar Mazara with a home run of the fifth inning. And then a somewhat controversial sixth inning, where we saw Yunel Escobar initially thrown out at third base for the second out of the inning, and ruled safe on a ground rule double based on a review of a ball lodged under a protective mat in the outfield. Jeff Bannister ejected, second ejection tonight. Mitch Moreland ejected in the fourth inning. One and 0 to Odor. And it is a little high. So when Banny was thrown out, and I don't know, I mean, Joe West, as I mentioned, was looking at him, don't even do it.
Right.
And so the second you do, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no equivocation about that. That's just standard operating procedure when you question a review call.
3-0, nowhere close on Odor here. So not unlike calling, or rather arguing balls and strikes.
Well, yeah, there is. There's some latitude there. Umpire can let you get away with a little bit, but as soon as you question their call made on a review, you're gone. There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, strike, at least according to Kerwin Danley. Well, that one, a lot of times you see the 3-0 pitch assumed to be a strike.
Oh, nice job by Rugded. No, that pitch got Moreland ejected tonight already.
Now we'll turn this one foul, and the count runs full. So, Buzz, were you ever ejected in your career?
No, sir.
Is that right?
No. Should have been, but I wasn't.
What do you mean you should have been? Did you get close a couple times?
Probably. I said enough things to get thrown out sometimes.
3-2 for Morin. I'll do it again.
But yeah, no, I just never got thrown out. Never did.
Your MLB analytics stat of the day: fewest pitches per plate appearance. Yeah, you got some free swingers in this one, and Escobar and Rougned Odor. Although this has been a great at bat right here for Rugi. Started off 3-0, and then really he had the walk. A pitch off the plate called strike one, and now getting into a little bit of an extended battle here. Some pretty good hitters on that list, by the way. Rugi's had a great year. Altuve's had a pretty solid year. Escobar's hitting over 300. There's ball 4. So Odor is aboard in the 6th. So let's see, for Rougned, number 18, it's his 18th walk of the year already. Yeah. It's only September 19th that he's already got it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's he's a difficult one to walk. Less than 3% of the time, but they've given him the free base. He does have good speed. Infield at double play depth with Lucroy up there. Warren starts him off with a breaking ball. Lucroy has flied out to left, bounced back to the mound, I mean, that was a rocket off the leg of Chacin. It caromed right over to first, where Cron was able to just pick it up, step on the bag, and get the put out. In my book, it just says 1-3.
Yeah, that doesn't nearly tell the story of that, does it?
I might have to come up with a different way to note that. Fouled over to the first base side.
Draw a Band-Aid right under it.
How about that view right there, Greg Schmidt? Giving us a little wave. A thumbs up.
What if he's got his seatbelt on over there then? A little precarious.
Yeah, ooh. You're afraid of heights. Dangling right over the edge. Lucroy in the spot here. Going to have to protect. And it waves at strike 3. Odor running on the play, and he is thrown out at second. And he says, no, no, no. Take a look at this one. Joe West right there called him out. Jeff Bannister. Of course, Jeff Bandy not down there right now. Bouchel looking back. It's normally Boo who's on the phone. Back with Bobby Jones.
He's not doing double duty. Here's what they're going to take a look at. Did he get the tag down before the hand hit the bag?
Did he even tag him at all? It looked like he might have gotten him, but not until Odor.
He did. He got him on the armpit.
But it looked like Odor had the hand on the bag at that point. Let's see. Here comes a tag. Still not on him. Still not on him. No, I don't know.
Sure didn't look like it was on.
So the Rangers asking him to take a look. Chase Tingler was the communication man on the phone for Steve Bouchel. And they got the word. Yeah, that one's worth a look. Lucroy struck out for the second out of the inning. Now the question is, will the inning continue for Jurickson Profar? It will not. A very short review at that. Caught stealing ends it. We go to the 7th. It's a 1-1 ball game. Nomar Mazara. Opposite field in the 5th inning. And that was the first run of the game. A little bit later, it was Mike Trout right down that first baseline for a triple, scoring Yunel Escobar to tie the game. And now, here we are, 1-1 to the 7th inning. Marte leading things off for the Angels. Marte, Andrelton Simmons, and Gregorio Petit. Guy right there. The story of the night, and there have been some awfully interesting sidebars. The story has been Martin Perez. He has spotted it tonight. He's worked ahead of hitters as he goes 2-0 to Marte here, but he's been efficient and effective.
A very, very solid night. I still think the best of the year that I've seen Martin throughout the ball game. He came out early, established the strike zone. He has made the Angels defensive hitters at the plate, and he's been able to throw his changeup occasionally for swings and misses.
And all that, he's been very consistent all night. He's been so impressive. I go back to what you said in the 6th inning. 2-2 now on Marte. The bizarre play with Yunel Escobar. The right call kept him at second base on review. And you said, hey, this is a huge spot. 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Trout, Pujols, Cron with a man in scoring position. Yeah. How will he react? And he got out of the inning with just 1 run given up. This one fades foul. Count stays 2-2. Really kept his composure against some of the greatest hitters in the game. Scioscia's had a beef all night tonight, and he continues to chew on Kerwin Danley about the pace at which Martin Perez is delivering his pitches.
Well, what he's saying is he's changing his motion, sometimes going into a higher leg kick mode, and sometimes what he's considering it quick pitching the hitter. And there's nothing wrong with what Martin is doing.
Well, that one just got a sliver of Marte. So he is on to start the 7th inning. It's been one of those nights for the umpiring crew tonight. They've heard it from all corners. Right off the elbow.
Yep. Little deflection off the forearm. Yeah, now he's got something else to need to pitch around here, that leadoff hit by pitch.
Simmons has rolled out twice tonight, and we talked a little bit earlier about it, but Martin Perez, one of the most effective ground ball pitchers in baseball, gets right at 54% ground balls. That's 4th best in the American League, 7th in all of baseball. And there is the comebacker, and he'll bobble it a couple of times, so no double play. He'll have to settle for the out of Simmons. Boy, off the bat, you're thinking double play, but he didn't get it cleanly.
No, that had a lot of spin on it. A little bit of English. It looked like it hit the glove of Martin Perez and just twisted its way out. And fortunately, Martin kept his head about him and didn't try to do too much. One of those balls right off the end of the bat. It's kind of like hitting a massé shot in billiards. The ball ran up his leg too on top of that. Nice play though by Martin. Make sure you get the 1 out. That's the important thing.
It does get Marte out there to second base. And Gregorio Petit, 0 for 2 tonight, is the hitter. Rangers play him mostly straight away. Petit, not a whole lot of power, just 2 home runs so far this year. All right-handed hitters for the Angels. Boy, good breaking ball. Where'd that one miss? 2-0. Martin has kept his cool all night. Now time asked for and granted. Well, Rangers already into that bullpen. And Mike Scioscia prepared for whatever eventuality with both righties and lefties ready. Two and one. Petit setting career highs this year for himself. Games played, hits, runs, doubles, triples, RBIs. So it's been a productive year for him. A versatile tool for Mike Scioscia. They'll use him all over the diamond. And he hits this ball pretty well out to left field, but not going to challenge the warning track. Gomez makes the catch. So 2 away. Marte had to hold second base. Not going to run on that arm. Former Gold Glover. And the Tampa Bay Rays will be coming to town to take on the Rangers. Last Saturday home game of the season. And the first 15,000 fans to the park on Saturday, October 1st. Get a Colby Lewis bobblehead, courtesy of Kroger. So come support the Rangers. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972 Rangers. Pretty good crowd on this Monday night, and we have had one heck of a ball game. Eighth place hitter Carlos Perez, the batter here, with Marte out at second base.
Yeah, a lot of Ranger fans concerned about starting pitching, so you say, well, those concerns pretty well vanquished now by Martin Perez.
I mean, this has been a real lift tonight.
Yeah, it has. For both the club and for Martin. Martin needed this, needed to keep the roll going, and I don't know if he felt extra pressure because of what had happened to Hamels and Darvish and Lewis, but whatever it was, it didn't bother him at all. He just bowled his neck and has gone back out.
This one served out toward right field, drops in, base hit. Marte rounds third. He'll score the go-ahead run. Perez with the RBI double, and it is 2-1 Angels. Well, a 2-out RBI double. That's a big hit for that man, Carlos Perez.
Now, Martin, not a bad pitch at all. Maybe up just a little bit more than he wanted, but I don't think you can argue too much with that execution. You give Carlos Perez the tip of the hat for being able to take it the other way, right where it was needed to be taken to have success with it.
Boy, that little spot down that right field line is where the Angels have found a little luck, or good fortune as the case may be. Tanner Scheper's getting ready out there for the Rangers. Doug Brocail done with a short visit out there with Martin Perez. Martin trying to keep that roll going, as you say. Last 3 starts coming into tonight. A 2-0 record, a 1.96 ERA, and opposing hitters batting just .235 against him. So he has really been great lately, and this will just add to it. Robinson takes a strike. Another light hitting utility man for the Angels, former St. Louis Cardinal. Martin has gotten him his first 2 times in. This one hit out to center field, and Ian Desmond right there for it. Inning over, but Angels have their first lead of the series. The RBI double by Perez makes it 2-1. All right, our greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Hanley Ramirez, co-player of the week in the American League. Pretty good numbers, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. And a real resurgence for him and the Red Sox. And then Ben Zobrist, kind of babe, take the bike to the ballpark. And his son right there with him, riding his bike. That's awesome. Take your kid to work day.
Yeah.
Almost looks like he's got his glove hanging off his handlebar up there too. That's just outstanding. So here we go, bottom of the 7th inning. And Cody Ege is the new pitcher for the Angels.
Yeah, the southpaw Cody Ege, a 25-year-old and former Ranger farmhand. He was a Rangers pick in the 15th round of the 2013 draft. He was part of the deal with Miami last year that brought over Sam Dyson into the fold. That a year ago, July 31st.
And Rafael Ortega, the new left fielder. The Angels starting to make some changes in these late innings. Bottom of the 7th, a 2-1 game. Rangers got ahead with the Mazzara homer in the 5th inning. But the Angels scratch out a run in the 6th and 7th. Take the lead. Mazzara, by the way, is due up next. Profar over to the right side against the left-hander Ege, in the count now 1-2. All of Profar's power has come from the other side of the plate. Not get nearly as much work as a switch hitter from the right side. It's 2-2. Profar entered the game in the 5th inning defensively. Had to come on for Mitch Moreland, who struck out to end the bottom of the 4th and then was ejected on his way back to the dugout. And we've seen the video a couple of times. It's hard to make out exactly what happened. Obviously, must not have been happy with the call. And it's a full count on Profar. Jeff Bannister also ejected in this game in the top of the 6th inning. Well, it has been a rather contentious affair tonight. Payoff pitch, and that is tight, but called strike 3, and again, borderline at best. What a frustrating night it has been in that regard. So far down looking to start the 7th.
Yeah, the first pitch that Ege had thrown that way, and he had caught Jurickson more by surprise. That's just barely touching the edge, but that technically is a called strike if you look at it that way. So Jurickson, not much he could do with it.
Nomar Mazzara, lefty on lefty here. Mazzara with his 19th home run in the 5th inning. Another opposite field homer for him. And we said it shortly after, but when he gets his 20th home run this year, that'll give the Rangers 7 guys with 20 or more home runs. 1-1 the count. I wonder they have in the regular lineup that goes out there every day. I think it's 6, maybe 7 guys at 280 or better.
Right.
You talk about some balance,
yep.
Whether it be power or just high average.
Yeah, and lengthening the lineup out. We talk about that quite often, and it's a very deep lineup.
This ball hit on one hop to Petit, and Mazzara is the second out of the inning.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
It's like a pitching change coming from Mike Scioscia. That will be it for Ege. And we will see the 4th Angels pitcher of the night. Angels leading by 1. We'll be back with a new hurler in just a moment. Last game of the regular season. It's also Fan Appreciation Day. Join in on the Fan Appreciation festivities. The Rangers facing the Tampa Bay Rays. Come out to the ballpark. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS for tickets. Always one of the more fun days of the year. And it's coming up on us. 2 out here with the 7th inning, and Corey Rasmus has come on to pitch.
Rasmus only in his 17th game this year. He spent 80 games on the disabled list with a groin injury. So trying to get back in the good stead of the Angels.
Starting with Elvis Andrus here in the 7th inning. He is the brother of Astros outfielder Colby Rasmus. 1-1 the count. And I think they have another brother, right, who was also drafted. Yeah, Casey. They have a younger brother, Casey, who was drafted by St. Louis in 2011. But he has since given up the game. The 1-1. In there for strike 2 call. Boy. Inside corner open for business tonight. And at the very least, that is well established at this point with Danley. Andrus with a good swing on this one. Sailing out there to center field. Trout goes back and it's gone. A home run. Elvis Andrus has tied this game.
Well, when we were talking about Elvis, that was one point we didn't touch on, the power this year. And he has hit some balls in the last several weeks. Better than I've ever seen him hit any baseballs at the major league level. And he powdered this out over the 404-foot sign in deepest left center field.
6th home run of the year for Andrus.
Well, that is barreled up by Elvis right in the sweet spot. And got every lick of that one.
So now Carlos Gomez.
Elvis getting that little body English and an encouragement, verbal encouragement, to get out of the ballpark.
Yeah, he talked that thing all the way over the fence.
You say going down and get out of here, get up, go.
Now bunt, but foul. Ball and 2 strikes on Gomez. 2 out here with the 7th inning of this game renewed on the home run by Elvis Andrus.
Now the Rangers, who had their 18-game home run streak come to an end yesterday, starting a new one now. 201 home runs for him this year.
Rasmus to the plate, and that breaking ball misses up and away.
Excuse me, 202.
Yeah, the 2nd home run tonight.
Yeah.
Zara in the 5th, Andrus here in the 7th inning. So both starters off the hook tonight. And a full count now. That's somewhat unfair, and certainly in the case of Martin Perez. He pitched wonderfully tonight. Well, I guess let me hold myself back just a moment, because this inning is not yet over.
Not yet.
So still the pitcher of record. And here's the 3-2. Walk to Gomez. The window of opportunity widening just a bit here in the 7th inning. All right, let's take a moment to check in with John Radigan on a Chevy game break. Beautifully done. Thanks, John. Attention now for Carlos Gomez. Desmond's had a good night at the plate.
And Gomez, very good speed, as you know, at first base, and potential, which is exactly what Erasmus is thinking about. Potential to get himself in a scoring position if he's able to swipe second.
We have seen the Rangers do this over and over again, late in games especially. Get really aggressive out there. Not going, and the pitch just a little bit off the plate.
Yeah, not a lot of fastballs from the Angel bullpen here tonight. Look at it, it might be a little bit tougher to hit that way, but it's also easier to steal if a guy's throwing an off-speed pitch.
1-0. And that will even things on Desmond. Slider low in the zone from Rasmus. Desmond, mentioned with the 2 hits again tonight. He is one of the better hitters in the American League in his home ballpark. A .331 average coming into tonight's game here at Globe Life Park. And that number's going up. Runner going. Pitch is high and outside. Gomez into the head first slide, and he's in there. Gomez with his 17th stolen base and in scoring position.
Now Mike Socha saying, hang on here a second. Now let's take a look at this, and everything we can take a look at, we'll take a look at. Carlos Gomez, a great jump, and it was a nice throw by Perez. Looked like he got in underneath the tag. Yeah, should have. Anderson Simmons, the shortstop, was the one that was quickest to complain about that, but his angle was looking from the outfield side of second base in toward the plate. So he really couldn't see when his hand got on the bag.
We hear the fans here voicing their displeasure, and they're going to go ahead and challenge this. It goes back to, I think, another issue that will probably be explored a little bit this offseason, which is, well, what is the time limit? Is there, or should there be a time limit for a manager to say, okay, we are going to challenge?
Yeah. Well, they've set a few parameters. Most of it has to do with the end of an inning, and you know, you don't have to walk out on the field to challenge it any longer. You can do it from the top step of the dugout, but nothing definitive to your point, Dave, and that's an important distinction. Is there should be some method to speed this up just a bit.
Well, in general, have you been a fan of the way it's worked out?
I think so. Yeah, I think they've gotten more calls correct. I don't know the exact number of overturns, but I think that it has been worth the effort to get this into play. And there was no illusion that there were not going to be any bugs to work out. And certainly there have been some of the interpretations that have been corrected, and there'll be some more interpretations as time goes on. But I think overall, it's been, and I was as big a traditionalist as anyone as far as, you know, replay and all the technology and things like that. I'm convinced, though, that it has a place in baseball, and it can be a workable addition to the game.
Yeah, and I don't have any doubt that they will continue to tinker a little bit with it as we move along. This one, by the way, that was a really tough call.
Yeah,
both
you're right.
Live and then on replay. The reality is he was called safe on the field, and it's going to be hard to overturn it. They won't. I didn't see anything in that replay that was definitively showing him to be out.
Exactly, and the call stands, so there wasn't definitive video evidence to either overturn it or uphold it. So the call on the field is what we go with.
So Gomez. All right, so these two pictures are synced up. And you see Gomez on the base, and the glove hasn't quite made contact yet.
I guess my question would be, if you have that ability and that's what you see, how is that not confirmed instead of the call stands?
I agree.
That's pretty obvious to me, but that's just me.
Meanwhile, 2-1 to Desmond, and he hits this ball high in the air out toward right field. Robinson, though, appears to have room, and that will end the inning. So after all of that, the next pitch results in the final out of the 7th. But Elvis Andrus makes it a new game with that swing, and we go to the 8th.
gave it to 91 years young, Darryl Kaiser, World War II veteran, taking his great-grandson to his very first game, and he actually drove him here from Flower Mound. Darryl, congratulations. How many grandkids do you have?
24.
Wow, 24. Well, great to have you here. Here's the bag. Way to go. Been rooting on those Rangers all game long. Anything else you'd like to say, Darryl?
Well, I'd just like to say that I got better eyesight than these umpires do.
All right, Darryl. Well, good to have you there. Great job there. Continue to root on those Rangers. Appreciate it. Way to go, Darryl. Thank you.
Oh, man. That is beautiful. All right, off to the 8th inning. Top of the order for the Angels. Yunel Escobar, and then Mike Trout, Albert Pujols. Matt Bush has come on to pitch.
Yeah, Matt entering the ball game tonight on a pretty good roll. He's had 6 consecutive scoreless outings now. And he is throwing the ball extremely well.
1 strike pitch. Close. 1-1.
There are the numbers for Matt. 54th appearance of the year. That ERA at 2.70. League hitting just 2.03 against him. Matt with now more strikeouts than innings pitched.
Escobar fights one off. Yunel. Oh, by the way, Jared Hoying has come in to add some defensive help out there in right field. So Mazzara done for the night. Homered earlier. One and 2 to Escobar. And this one again ends up in the stands. He was involved in the really the big play. He hit one to the wall out in right center, and it was deemed to have lodged briefly under there. That saved him. He was out by a mile at third, never got to third. And he bounces one toward third base, scooped up by Beltre. One away.
Yeah, Matt Bush pulling the string a little bit on that on the curveball, and he got a weak ground ball to Adrian.
Unforgettable games, undeniable greatness, and unstoppable drama. The 2016 postseason begins October 4th. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. Less than 2 weeks away. Mike Trout, RBI triple, reached on an error, also grounded out. And takes strike 1. That's that curveball that we saw from Bush at spring training. We saw very little of Matt Bush at spring training. His fastball is electric, and that curveball at times can just be devastating. And there's a swing and a miss to make it 0-2.
Yeah, that's a cutter slider. Just depending on how big it breaks for Matt. The 92 with a lot of quick action going away from a right-handed hitter. That's the addition that we didn't see in spring training.
Yeah, he started fiddling with that when the minor league season began in the 0-2. It's an up-close look at some of the heat.
Yeah. What's impressed me, Dave, about Matt lately, especially last, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks that he's gone out there, he's been able to throw that curveball in first pitch to a lot of right-handed hitters, and that's a tremendous weapon because you mess up a hitter's psyche. First thing a hitter's thinking about against Matt Bush is 98. How am I going to counteract that? And all of a sudden you drop in an 80-mile-an-hour curveball, and the guy says, "Oh boy." Now there's 2 of them I can't hit.
Yeah, it's a pretty good arsenal coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah,
you don't see that a whole lot. The variety of pitches he's able to throw, and effectively. 1-2. Whew. A little tight. Well, he told me he scrapped the curveball when he came up earlier this season because he didn't feel comfortable spiking it, you know, when you get ahead in the count. Now he uses it to get ahead. Weak bouncer short. Andrews with a strong arm. 2 away.
Yeah, we forget sometimes that Matt, even though he's 30 years old, he doesn't have a lot of professional experience pitching. And he's trying to figure out how he's going to get the most out of what's best for him, how he utilizes his stuff the best way. So it's an ongoing educational process for him. And Matt, very much to his credit, well, he's asked a lot of questions, he has watched a lot of people, and he has made adjustments as they have been necessary and has done a great job with it.
Pretty tough level to learn on the job, and he has done an amazing job of it. There's a Swifty to Pujols at 99 miles per hour. Let's check in with Emily.
You guys were talking about Matt Bush, and when Prince Fielder came back yesterday, Matt came over and said hello to him, and Prince said, hey man, how you doing? You still throwing 100? And somebody piped up and said, yeah, 101 the other night. And Matt started to walk out of the room, and he goes, 101.8 actually. So he's keeping an eye on the radar gun.
How could you not? If I'm throwing 101.8, you know, probably rewinding that video a few times. Two gone, nobody on for Pujols, and the Rangers with a shift to the left side of the infield for him, and he hits right into it. Odor with all kinds of time, and it's a 1-2-3 for Matt Bush. Rangers sitting the heart of the order, bottom of the 8th inning, tie game.
Tied up at 2 as we head to the bottom of the 8th here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This the opener of a 3-game series between the Halos and the Rangers. Game 2 will take place tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Same time as we get you going at 6:30 with the Rangers Live pregame show. A couple of the big hitters headed into this one. You can see their numbers on the screen. Mike Trout and Jonathan Lucroy. First pitch at 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Some raindrops falling, guys. A big thanks to the fine folks at AT high-speed internet for getting us ready for game 2 of this 3-game series. Strange rain. I don't know where it came from. I mean, I know where it came from, but I don't know where it came from.
I'm glad you caught yourself.
I did. I knew better.
Go for cover. That's where everybody else is going. And Carlos Beltran leading off this 8th inning. Boy, look at it.
Somebody forgot to notify Mother Nature that it wasn't supposed to rain tonight.
1-1 pitch. A.J. Octor is our new pitcher for the Angels. He is the 5th man out on the hill tonight for L.A. And Beltran down to first. C.J. Cron will take it himself. And there's one gone. Boy, it's pretty healthy rain.
Yeah, it really is. Out of the middle of nowhere, as far as there's one little cell on the radar that has formed right over Globe Life Park.
Country Joe cooling off just a touch. Find cover.
Yeah.
And there they go. So they're going to go ahead and cover this thing up, make sure that we can keep playing. So some preventative work here. That is bizarre. The important thing, though, is that Emily got out of it just before it really hit.
She did, yeah.
2-2 ball game, and suddenly a deluge. This has been an excellent game tonight. I mean, we have seen all kinds of intriguing elements. The ejections, it was contentious there in the middle innings, and then I do think it's worth pointing out again. The story tonight is Martin Perez was just outstanding.
No, I agree with you, Dave, 100%. I thought, again, and it's just my opinion, but this is the best that Martin Perez has pitched this year, and maybe the best he's pitched since he came back from Tommy John. I thought he did a great job tonight of spotting up all of his pitches, throwing strikes early in the ball game, and that got the Angels in a defensive mode where they had to swing. And once Martin is able to do that, he stays with it, and that changeup becomes a player for him, and the breaking ball also became a player, and he really pitched a good ball game. Despite the 2 runs that he gave up, I thought that he was very solid tonight.
We mentioned how he was on a nice little run coming into this game. He was asked a couple of days ago, anyway, we were in the clubhouse chatting with him. Does he need to tinker? Is there something he's trying to accomplish in these last couple of starts? And I loved his answer because it echoed a lot what you said the other day when we were watching Hamels and Darvish. And he said, no, this is not the time to be weird. That's spring training is when you do that kind of stuff. It's time to compete, go out there, get wins, and keep the momentum going toward the postseason. And for him, I suppose maybe easier to say because he is rolling right now and he's got a little bit of that momentum on his side.
Well, yeah, good point brought up by Martin Perez, and I think that shows you the growth that he's had. Is that this time of year you got 24 other guys depending on you to go out there and do your job, not to be Mr. Fix-It out there. They want you to go out and get outs and help them win ball games, and it's important for the Rangers coming down to the finish line, as Jeff Bannister has mentioned. That keep your eye on what's going on right now. Don't be looking down the road or don't be looking in the past too far. Let's keep our eye on the prize at hand, and that's tonight's ball game.
Which goes ultimately to a bigger storyline, which is the Rangers' magic number at 5 coming into play today, which means any combination of Rangers wins and or Seattle losses. Seattle currently the closest team to them in the division race. Equaling 5 would clinch the division. Well, they can take care of a piece of that themselves tonight if they can come back and win this thing. Meanwhile, we check in on the Mariners. They're now in the 3rd inning at home against the Toronto Blue Jays, the first in a series against the Blue Jays, where both teams very much with all kinds of postseason implications in that series.
No, you're right. It's going to be a tough series for both those teams, and they both have to feel like, look, we need to get a stranglehold on what's going on here the last 2 weeks of the season. Toronto in a dogfight for that wild card spot, if not the division title in the East, but they've got their hands full with Seattle, who has been playing as well as any team in the American League.
And Seattle's just 2 back of Toronto in that wild card race. Meanwhile, here, a little bit of rain, or a lot of rain. All of a sudden in this 8th inning, 1 out, nobody on, bottom of the 8th in a 2-2 game. We'll take a little break, and then we'll come back for a little bit more. We're out of the rain delay almost officially. we are ready to go. This is one of the stranger things I've seen in a while, Buzz. Joe West hustled the grounds crew off and said, let's go.
Yeah,
we're ready to go. And so he hustled the grounds crew off. He got the Angels out there warming up. And in fact, AT Ochter taking his warm-up pitches. He's ready. He's just kind of waiting. The Rangers, though, been, we were informed that a start time would be 20 after. So they're just sort of now showing up. And Joe West has been a little upset this whole time, trying to get everybody going.
That's unusual for Joe West to be upset about stuff.
It's certainly unusual to see him hustling people up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Angels, I'm sure they share a little frustration. They've been sort of out there waiting, ready to go. And this not terribly material work being done out in front of the Rangers dugout. I guess you wouldn't normally think. It didn't look that wet to me, but quick job, it's done, and now we're ready to go. Great job by the grounds crew, by the way. They peeled that tarp back and got after it, and that was a deluge of rain that came out of nowhere.
Sure was.
Some good hustle, boys. Nicely done. So a 2-2 game, and when we last left off, AT Ochter had come on to pitch in this 8th inning. Beltran had rolled out to first for the first out, and now Adrian Beltre is due. A hit, a walk, and a strikeout for Beltre tonight. And there we go. Swing the big wagon gate closed, and we're off. Now we're ready, and Ochter fires to Beltre, and that ball hit hard, left center field, base hit. Beltre will have to hold at first. You hit a ball that hard, you want and almost expect more, but cut off nicely by Trout.
Yeah, Trout did a good job of getting over there and cutting that ball off. It would have been, for most center fielders, unless you're playing that way, that ball goes to the wall. But Trout with great speed, able to cut that off and pass.
So officially 38-minute delay.
A little bit of altitude, and that would have left the ballpark. Peter hit that right on the screws.
I figured Trout would be good in the wet stuff, and he was. Beltre on, and now here is Rougned Odor. Kind of a weird night for Rougned. He's popped up foul, flied out to right, and walked. Average has just dipped under 280 for Rougned. And he sends one down the right field line. Beltre got a good start. Robinson trying to find it in the corner. Spike Owen puts up the stop sign at third. It's a double for Rougned Odor. Rangers have it set up nicely in the 8th.
Well, that first base foul line has taken a beating tonight. And Trout hit one right down that, right on the top of the bag, as a matter of fact. Now Rougned pasting one right on the chalk down there for a double. No, Rangers with a go-ahead run, just 90 feet away now.
And that will earn a visit for Ochter. Rugi blasted that one. No chance for Crone. And a pretty obvious hold at third base of Adrian Beltre. Mike Scioscia was gesturing out to the bullpen, and he never came out to cross the line.
Now, Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, is the one that went out to the mound, and Scioscia was standing out in front of the dugout, gesturing with both hands like he wanted a right-hander and a left-hander.
I wonder, it doesn't seem like anybody's paying attention down there. No. What if the phone's not working?
Sorry, Mike, nobody wants to come in. We're not going to do it right now.
Oh, so he's now Scioscia's saying like, well, I'm going to walk out there and tell him what to do myself. No, I don't think so. Greg Gibson will get it done for him. Yeah, a lot of confusion. Delano DeShields is in to run at third base for Adrian Beltre. It was one of those nights for both managers.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been an odd game. A lot of things we don't normally see have taken place.
Now they have communicated something down to that bullpen, and now he's just stalling. He wants a new pitcher, is my guess here, Buzz, but he doesn't have anybody ready. Now, Kerwin Danley going to go over and talk to Buechele. Obviously, communication issues.
Well, Boo's trying to make sure that Kerwin Danley recognized there was a visit to the mound and that Charles Nagy left the mound. And once that happens, then the pitcher that's on the mound at that time has to throw to one hitter.
Well, Octor getting a couple of tosses in during the delay. Jonathan Lucroy will be the hitter. So we've had our Octor visit, and now you see DeShields down at third for Beltre. Odor at second. And let's just put Lucroy on. So the bases will be loaded with one out once they get Lucroy down to first. And then we'll see if they go ahead and make a move or not, with Profar due next. Fans are into it.
If you're thinking about pitch hitting for Profar, you really can't do it. He has to stay in the ball game now and play third base, probably. And you could always bring in Hanser Alberto, but one of them's got to play third base with Beltre out of the game.
Now a visit. Perez out there to talk to Octor. So, and at long last, Scioscia, now he can make his move. Well, he worked hard to get that extra time for his pen. Scioscia signals. That's it for Octor. Bases loaded, one out, and a new victim coming on for the Angels. Jose Alvarez will be the pitcher when we return. And they are going to pinch hit for Jurickson Profar. Jose Alvarez is the new pitcher. That's the first bit of business. The left-hander, 27 years old, on for the 61st time.
Yeah, he's a workhorse for the Angels. You see, though, the opponent's hitting .298 against Alvarez. So the Rangers have the situation they want with Ryan Rua coming off the bench, who has good success against left-handed pitching.
Rua with 8 home runs this year. Average at .253 for him. Ryan, as a pinch hitter, 0 for 8 so far this year.
You just need contact in the middle of the diamond, somewhere up the middle.
First pitch from Alvarez. Misses for a ball. Delano DeShields, a pinch runner at third. Odor at second. Lucroy at first for the Rangers.
And Ryan Rua, 1 out of 2 against Alvarez in previous matchups.
Hits this ball sharply to third. What a grab. Oh boy, Escobar pulls that one down for the second out of the inning. Are you kidding me?
I don't think he hit the ball much harder than Ryan Rua just hit it.
We're off the bat. Matt had a chance to get 2, maybe clear him. So now Hoying, who came in defensively last inning. And a slow tapper. Foul. Oh, what a wild inning. The rain delay of 38 minutes after the ground out by Carlos Beltran. And Beltran came right out with a base hit. Odor followed with a double. Intentional pass to Lucroy, and then on the pitching change, Ryan Rua pinch hitting a sharp line out. It's up to Jared Hoying. And a tough matchup for him. Lefty on lefty here. 1-1 the count. Hoying has appeared in 11 of the last 12 games now, and he's ahead here 2-1.
Jeff Manish has gone to Hoying in a lot of defensive situations and some late game at bats too.
Two-one pitch. And that's a beauty. 2-2 the count. Well, they're in good position over there on that railing. And Hoying can deliver a big hit. And that one back of second base and out into shallow right field, and Petit is there. Inning over, and the Rangers leave them loaded. Off to the ninth inning we go, tied at 2.
the 9th inning now after a 38-minute rain delay here in Arlington, Texas. So much to talk about in this one on the postgame edition of Rangers Live. Pudge Rodriguez is here. Mark McLemore will be here too. Look at that. You like that shirt? That's a nice shirt, isn't it, Pudge? Pudge is here already. We sat through the rain delay together. There he is. Got a buddy with him, Will. Good to see you guys. Look at Pudge. Yeah, that's Will. That's his buddy Will. He came up just to join us for the. He won't be a part of the post-game coverage, but he's given us some ideas to talk about. Yeah, he might. You never know. Post-game show right after the game. Let's hope it's soon, guys.
Yeah, thanks, John. Got your hands full over there. All right, Sam Dyson on for the 9th inning in a tie game.
Sam in his 69th appearance of the year, and at 2.62 ERA. 65 and a third innings of work for Sam, and the 249 opponent's batting average. So he's going to go through the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Angels tonight.
Hanser, he has come in to play third. Beltre out of the game. Now the base hit was lifted for the pinch runner. C.J. Cron. Takes one high. Rua, after pinch hitting, stays in the game at first. Third first baseman of the night for the Rangers. 2-0 to C.J. Cron. Matt Bush, by the way, through the 8th inning and got 3 quick groundouts. Very effective today on the heels of the outstanding effort of Martin Perez, who went 7 strong today, allowed a couple of runs on 4 hits. There's a strike. Cron 0 for 3, struck out back of the 4th inning. The 2-1 from Dyson. Bouncer third base. Alberto right there has time. Out number 1. He's sure-handed.
Yep. Yes, he is. 2 years ago, the best defensive shortstop in all of minor league baseball. Hanser has good hands.
Yeah, appropriately named. He's done a nice job and perfect spot for him tonight down there at third. Here's Ortega. He came in to play left field and his first at bat of the night. Tyson gets him to bounce one foul. Rafael Ortega. He has been used, I guess I would say, sparingly. See those 53 games, 46 of them in the outfield, but he's very good in the outfield. He was recalled on August 29th from Salt Lake City. 1-1 the count. And he's a guy they like to use as a late inning defensive substitute in the outfield, as they have tonight.
Also a very good pinch runner. He's got great speed.
The 1-1. Ooh, golfs out one. Well struck out toward right center. Long run for Ian Desmond, but he gets there, and there are 2 away.
Now Desmond playing relatively shallow and maybe a couple of steps toward left center. Had a long way to go, but fortunately that ball hit high enough that Ian could use his closing speed and track it down. You see where the starting point. That ball perfectly placed in between both Hoying and Desmond. Ian turned into a very, very capable center fielder.
Well, with 2 away, Dyson needs just 1 more to give the Rangers a chance in the last of the 9th inning. Andrelton Simmons. A lot of extra on that swing.
Yeah, I'm not sure the footing is all that great around home plate right now. Best they could do with it. You know, that's one of the things, and it's not a huge concern, but that's one of the things you have to be concerned about when you bring Sam Dyson, a ground ball pitcher, into a game that's been delayed by rain, is will it work against him? And so far it hasn't. One fly ball, one ground out.
Bouncer, that one through. So a base hit for Simmons. Angels have a man on. And Gregorio Petit 0 for 3. In the bottom of the ninth, Elvis Andrus will lead it off. And it's Carlos Gomez and Ian Desmond. Rangers led early, a home run in the 5th inning by Nomar Mazara. Angels came back to score a couple. And then Andrus tied it in the 7th inning with a home run of his own. Very well pitched game, both sides. In on Petit.
Need to keep an eye too here on Simmons. Not a big base stealer, but he's 9 out of 10 this year. So if he gets the kind of jump that he expects to, he's pretty proficient at swiping bags. And of course, going against the best in the business as far as throwing out opposing runners, that would be Jonathan Lucroy.
He's thrown out a major league high 35. Little tapper. Tough play for Dyson. Got him. Wow. I'm not sure how he got that ball around Petit, and I'm equally unsure how Rua got it. Elvis Andrus homered earlier in the 7th inning. He'll lead off the 9th in this tie game. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Chance for the Rangers to do it again. They have 19 wins this year in their last at bat. Our AT&T high-speed replay. This was Elvis Andrus' 7th inning. That tied us up. And he leads us off here in the 9th. And a bouncer through, base hit. Elvis Andrus on to begin the bottom of the 9th inning. Chu continues to work his way back. And just as ready as anybody else to celebrate.
Now, it's not wasting any time. Had a pretty good idea of what he was going to get first pitch from Jose Alvarez. And he shot that one by Escobar. Escobar was playing up even with the bag, just to guard against the bunt possibility.
Elvis with very good speed, not going anywhere. The first pitch to Gomez, taken for a strike. Carlos 1 for 3 with a walk. Rangers magic number at 5 coming into play tonight. One strike pitch bunted, and that's a beauty. The play to first, not in time. Gomez beats it out. Rangers have the winning run in scoring position.
Well, on this kind of footing, a little bit of slickness on the grass. Good job by Carlos Gomez to get that ball down and make Alvarez field it. He had a long way to go to get the ball, and it took a little bit of time extra to get rid of it, make sure he made an accurate throw. And Gomez, with his speed, just able to beat that one out. The more you can make teams field the ball and throw the ball around on a wet surface, the better off you are.
That's a big bunt single. Now Ian Desmond. Desmond already with a couple of hits tonight. There was a time earlier this year where Desmond was the guy on this team to come through in these clutch spots. 1-1.
One thing you want to stay away from here is the double play grounder. You get an airborne, that's great. But the double play in this situation would be not a good thing at all. And why wouldn't you bunt? Well, you take the bat out of Carlos Beltran's hands, who is in the on-deck circle, and then you've got Alberto and a cast of characters hitting in the cleanup spot.
Yeah, the Rangers have gone deep into their bench. Beltre out of the game. Moreland out. Nomar Mazara out of the game. So there are some of the big bats no longer available tonight. Off the fist. 1-2 on Ian Desmond. He's done a nice job lately in these spots. There's the winning run.
Yeah, how about if you just drive him home right here and not have to worry about any of the other stuff?
Jose Alvarez. Fifth relief pitcher used tonight. And Desmond serves it out toward right field. That one drops in, base hit. Andrus being waved. Here's a throw, and it's wide. Andrus scores, and the Rangers have walked it off again.
Sixth come from behind victory here tonight. Just amazing.
For Desmond, his 4th career walk-off. That's the 20th time this year that the Rangers have won a game in their final at bat.
That's incredible.
Magic number now at 4.
And there was no doubt in Elvis's mind when he saw that ball go to right field that he was going to score on the play. It wouldn't have mattered if Spike Owen threw up a stop sign or not out there. Spike was waving it home, but Elvis had a full head of steam going. He got a great read on the ball. As soon as he saw the arc of that, the trajectory of that ball, he knew that it was going to fall in right field. And Elvis put his head down, and he was charging home. Ian Desmond with his 3rd hit of the night. And one of the bigger hits he's had lately, and he's had a lot of them.
Yeah, he's been in need of a lift.
Yeah.
And that's a big hit for Ian Desmond. And it's a big hit for the Rangers. They shave one off the magic number. And we'll await news from Seattle later on tonight. Desmond already got his Gatorade back.
Yeah.
These guys are getting pretty good at this, by the way.
They are.
They've had a lot of practice. All right, down to the field, Emily Jones.
All right, we've got the Powerade bath out of the way. Ian, a big hit for you, a big win for this team.
Yeah, it was a good one. You know, after the last couple, we needed to get it going. Today was a good game. Well pitched, well played defensively. You know, Martin, a lot of the same.
It seems like this team plays very inspired baseball coming out of rain delays. What's going on in there during rain delays?
I don't know. You're right, though. You're right. I don't know what the secret is there.
As far as the way this team getting so close now with the magic number being down to 4, is there a sense of urgency, or are you guys trying to play it straight?
Just play it straight. A lot of this, just try to play the same way we've been playing all year. It's been working. No need to change it now.
As far as Martin is concerned, somebody needed to come out there and make a statement. It seems like he made one tonight. What were your observations of his performance?
I just loved his early aggressiveness tonight. You know, he was throwing strikes. He's so good at putting the ball on the ground. You know, it's refreshing to see him go out there and work quick. And you saw what our defense did tonight. It was much needed, and he's the right guy to do it.
Ian, welcome back, buddy. Send it back up to you. Bye, guys. Up to you.
All right, thanks, Emily. Let's take a look at the standings now in the American League West. There we are, 89-62 at the moment, a 9-game lead over the Mariners, and they are trailing at home at the moment, 3-0 to the Blue Jays. Houston a full 10 back, and then it gets pretty deep. 4 is a magic number, and we'll be back with more in a moment.